favoritefamilyrecipes.com. We're going to make some smoked teriyaki ribs today. Let's get started with our rub. Alright, for this teriyaki rub we're going to keep things pretty simple. We're going to be looking at an 1/8 cup of smoked paprika. We have about 1.5 teaspoons of garlic powder. One teaspoon of ginger powdered. I got a 1/2 teaspoon of pepper and 1.5 teaspoons of sea salt. I like the consistency of sea salt a little more than table salt for a rub. It just seems to rub into the meat a little better. It's a little more coarse. And then a full cup of brown sugar. Now we're going to mix this all up. Brown sugar is going to create a nice bark on our ribs, and that's kind of what we're looking for. The paprika is going to add some flavor as well as give it a nice red color. So it's going to look really nice on it for presentation. This rub I'm going to be using with 2 racks of ribs. I got some baby backs. But you might be able to pull off 3 or maybe even 4 with this rub, so we might even be able to save a little bit for next time. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Again, if you want this, if you want to add any more ingredients than what I added to it, you're more than welcome. These are what I found to work well for me and my family. But the best thing about smoking ribs and cooking outdoors is you get to play and mess with it yourself and make it your own. Let's go get those ribs. Alright, so we got our baby backs out here. I've already prepped these ribs, removed the membrane from the back, and trimmed off some excess fat on the top, just because I like my ribs a little leaner. So what we want to do here is we want to get all that moisture off them right now with a nice, just a paper towel, so we can apply this rub and it will stick well. We're going to apply the rub on both sides of the ribs. So let's get these all dried up. Once you have the rub on, you probably want to let these marinate overnight. But if you're in a hurry and you're in a rush, you can throw that marinade on them, let them sit for about an hour right before you put them on the grill, and do them up. Alright, so we're just going to put a little base on here. Always do bone side first. When you get that rub underneath, add just a little bit more flavor. Now we're adding a little bit of mustard on this, and this is just to help the rub stick down. We're not really putting this mustard on for any flavor, and I'm running out of mustard. You can also use other things like Worcestershire sauce, but I found mustard's a pretty good consistency. And again, we're not needing a lot of it here. We're just trying to get something for that rub to stick onto. Alright, let's go ahead and apply some of the rub we just made. Now remember, you've been handling pork, so you don't want to actually be touching any of this rub if you plan on saving any. Or if you doubled your recipe or anything like that. But for today, I'm not planning on using it anymore, so I'm just going to go ahead and apply it. These look good. Go ahead and pat that in. Rub it into the bone. This is going to create a nice flavor underneath as well. So you're getting flavor from both sides of your rib. Just gonna want to rub and pat that in. Yeah, that looks good. Alright, once that's in there good, go ahead and flip those over. We're going to do the same thing to this side. And running out of mustard. Hopefully we get enough on here. Make it good. We'll try it. If you run out of mustard, you can use other things like Worcestershire sauce, soy sauce, but I think we have just enough to make this work. And same as the other side, we're just going to get our rub on there. Looks like I have just enough for these two ribs. Now you can use this recipe with any style rib you want. You can use it with spare ribs. There's St. Louis cut. Personally, I like the baby backs just because I think they're a little healthier. They're not as fatty, and you get I feel like you get a little bit more meat. And I like meat more than I like fat. Let's rub that in. Got a lot of excess out here, so we can pull that back up. Make sure we get all that in there nice and as thick as you can. Alright, we're about an hour before our ribs go in, so I pulled them out and they're sitting on the counter getting up to room temperature so we can put them out on the smoker. Before we do get them out on the smoker, we want to do a quick little mop sauce or spray. I'm going to use a spray today. I kind of like how it sprays on. It's a little more consistent around the rib. Also, it usually doesn't cause me to pull off any of the spices from the rub that I've put down on it already. So I kind of prefer the spray, but you can do whatever you'd like. Going to be real simple. We got some pineapple juice. We're going to do a cup of pineapple juice. Get that in there. Then I got the Yoshida's Teriyaki Oriental. You can find it at Sam's Club or Costco. Any grocery store. If you can't find it, soy sauce would work just fine as well. I kind of like the flavor of this, so I'm going to use that. I'm going to use about a 1/4 cup of it to add in. I'm just gonna eye that one. We're going to mix that up, put it in our spray bottle. I'm getting the grill up to temperature right now. You can see that smoke coming out. This is kind of what we're looking for, is that this is a wood pellet smoker. Now that that's going, I'm going to go ahead and close our lid. This is a wood pellet smoker where you're getting heat. All your heat and your fire come from these wood pellets here. And I'm smoking today with some wood pellets that my friends down at the barbecue pit stop in Lehi, Utah recommended to me. And these are pecan. It should add a nice little flavor to our and complement our teriyaki. So that is really smoking. Right now we're only at 60 degrees. So we're gonna let that calm down a little bit, and when it gets when it's went through its first cycle of wood, we should be looking at putting these ribs on. Let's get this going. Nice smoke coming out. Looks good. What's great about smoking, you're using indirect heat. So you can load as many of these ribs in here as you want and place them pretty much anywhere in the oven. You're going to get the same results. Close that down. Alright, we're an hour into our cook now. The ribs have been in the smoker. They've been averaging about 200 degrees during this process, so I upped the heat a little bit. So we should be hitting about that 225 mark now. Let's go ahead and open this up and spray down these ribs. Alright, those look beautiful. A nice red color. You're starting to see they're starting to cook, and see they're getting a little dry here. So this is why we're going to spray them down. Get a little more moisture on them and get a little more caramelization. Just go ahead and drench those down. Those look great. Smell good. I got a little bit extra of my rub left over. Gonna just sprinkle a little bit more of this on there. Just to use it all up and get more of that caramelization going. Now the second hour I might not have any of this rub left. Looks like I won't. So if you want, you could add a little bit of brown sugar, and that's just going to help it caramelize and have a nice crust on there at the end of our cook. Alright, we're in hour number 2, going to spray them down again. Alright, they're looking pretty good. Another quick spray down. Alright, one more hour, then we'll foil and wrap. Alright, we've hit our 3-hour mark. We're going to pull these ribs off, take them inside, and foil them up for another 2 hours. Let's take a look. Alright, they're looking good. So they're starting to pull away from the bone a little bit. They've shrunk a little bit on the inside, but they look great. Let's get inside and foil these up. Alright, we got our ribs in off our smoker. We're going to go ahead and wrap these in foil. This is going to steam the ribs, help them get past that, what they call the sweat point, or when they start to stall. This also is going to bring a little separation from the meat and the bone, kind of give them a little bit better presentation, kind of the classic look you see in the restaurants. So, we're going to go ahead and foil these up. The main thing here is we always want to foil them with the bone side up. And we're just going to create a little boat with our foil here. You should have some extra sauce or from our misting. What we'll do is we'll just add some of that in here with it so it gets a good steam. When you put this back on the grill, make sure you do it with this bone side up. First one. Alright, we're going to place these right back out on the grill. Again, they're bone side up. Cook these for 2 hours uninterrupted. We're not going to be opening them up to do anything now. Just let them sit there and cook for 2 more hours. Alright, the ribs are out on the grill. They're doing their 2 hours steam in the tin foil. So we're going to get started on our glaze for our last hour. So what we're going to want here is we're going to want a half cup of the unsweetened pineapple juice. I'm going to do a half cup of the Yoshida sauce because I want a lot of bold flavor. If you don't want as much, you can always bring it down. We're going to do 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. I minced up some garlic, 1 clove, fresh garlic, and then 1/3 teaspoons of powdered ginger. And we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of honey, just to add a little bit more thickness. And we're going to stir this up, bring it to boil. Get all that honey out. We're going to stir this up and bring it to boil. And then we'll probably need to thicken it up a little bit more with about 1/4 cup of water and 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. That's pretty runny. So we're going to want to thicken this up a little bit so it kind of stays on our ribs. Let's get this on the stove. Alright, we got this boiling now. We're going to add our cornstarch and water to it to thicken it up and then drop the heat. Alright, so we brought our ribs back in. They've been wrapped in foil for 2 hours. We're going to bring this foil, unwrap them from this foil. Now be careful when you unwrap. There's going to be a lot of heat come out of this and it can be a little intense. Go. Looks good. Come look at this. Alright, so you can see how the meat's pulled back from these bones. There's not going to be a whole lot holding these ribs together, so we need to be pretty careful bringing them out. Once we put them on the grill again, it'll tighten this up and they won't be quite as fragile as they are right now. So we're going to try our best to not break this rack when we pull it out. Come on. There we go. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Get rid of this foil. Put that on the side. Now, let's flip this rack over. Alright, there we go. These are just ready to fall off the bone already. More than likely this is probably done. Let's check it. Usually want to get a temperature of 160. And let's see where we're at on this. Looks like we are about 10 degrees from being done, so another hour should get these finished. Alright, so I got the ribs back on here. We're going to add our little glaze that we made and let it sit in there for about another hour. We have maybe an hour of sunlight left. It's about 5:30 now. We should be eating about 6:30. See, I threw on some potatoes as well when I put these ribs back on. Here, I might as well bake up some potatoes. And in about a half hour into this, I'll come out again and throw on some whole pineapple slices. Just get that glaze on there. That looks great. Now when this is finished, you can eat it with just the glaze. You can add your favorite barbecue sauce. Either way is going to be great. If you do want to add a barbecue sauce, maybe come out 10 minutes before. Let this glaze kind of thicken up on here and caramelize, and then put your barbecue sauce on. That looks good. They smell great. Alright, so we finished our smoke on our ribs. They've been in about a little over 6 hours. We got them up to temperature. They're 160 or a little above 165. Ready to go. As you can see, the glaze is kind of worked on the rib real well. They're still real tender. Let's cut into them and see what they look like. Just ripping right through. Alright, so here we go. We got our pink smoke ring. On both sides you can see how deep that smoke ring goes. Even though it's not real colorful, it's still permeate. It gets through the rib quite a bit. So that looks really good. These should be good. We'll finish cutting them up, and good luck.